So honestly, if I can do wrong and not take accountability for it, I can always feel good. We don't just do things just to do it. That's why they say men are very logical. It's like, hey, this is the goal I want. This is what I'm going to do to get this goal.
Why can't you guys just do what we want? Why?
As far as with men, our issue is that we hear what you guys want. We just don't want to do it. And you guys will be like, what do men want? We'll tell you what you want. And then you'll be like, no, you guys shouldn't want that. What you mean? Because you expect a man to affirm you. So stroking the male ego is affirming him. There's always another prettier woman, but overall, there's not always another better woman for marriage. Because you're beautiful, you have a good mindset, you have a good career, it's not an equal to a man. We're not looking for an equal. We're looking for a wife. The salary thing is not really the issue. It's the personalities with the salary. They trust me. If the woman made all this money and their personalities were amazing, I promise you, they'd be getting married. In a lot of ways, we as men don't really have to be men anymore. So it's like a lot of men are becoming more feminine. We cause it, we drop the ball. And then we mess women up in the process. But we messed it up first, by all means. We as men drop the ball. There's a war with women going on today, you know? And the choice is, do I want the attention of everybody else or do I want the attention of a good man? So you can't have both.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and episode 4 of the intimacy series. I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. You guys are in for a treat today because I have the amazing Dozie Ezemma, who is a 31-year-old virgin. That's how he's branded himself here on YouTube. I've been speaking to him on and off. I won't say on and off, but we've been connected for a few years. So I definitely wanted to have him on this channel. And don't worry, there's going to be more women coming, just trying to work out timelines for interviews. But this is going to be a great conversation about the male perspective. He has a platform called Man 101, and it's basically him telling the male perspective. I really enjoyed this interview because it made me think a lot and made me put a lot of things into perspective. Sometimes as a woman, we can think with a woman's mind and think about men in a certain way. But then when it's flipped back onto us, like, okay, let's say a woman said it or a woman did this, and you're actually able to get a well-rounded perspective. One thing about me going forward is that I'm not just trying to be the only person sharing my opinion, sharing my perspective. I think it's really important and wholesome as a woman and as the opposite sexes not to have war, but to have conversations, because I think most of the things are just misunderstanding and ignorance, right? And if you want to be in a relationship with a man, I think it's important that you have a male perspective, which I know that most people on my channel are open to that. So if you guys don't agree, that is totally fine. I'm not saying that you should agree with everything he says. I don't agree with everything anybody says, but I ask that you guys have an open mind. And without further ado, let's get into this juicy interview. Okay, so I am with the amazing Dozie Ezemma. Is that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
I said it right, yeah. We are going to be having a candid conversation about a lot of things. Funnily enough, we actually had a conversation last week because there was a mix-up with timings and da-da-da-da-da-da. So we actually had a really long conversation, and I'm probably going to be referencing things that we talked about there because you guys didn't get to hear it. But I'm going to start off with you introducing yourself, and then we're going to do an icebreaker, and then we'll get straight into it. So introduce yourself. What's your name? How old are you? Where do you live? How tall are you? Girls want to know. They want to know this information.
Let's start. My name is Dozie Ezemma. Born and raised in New York by way of Niger. You feel me? Igbo. But also, I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am career. It's a little extensive. Playing the NFL right now. Was a chemist. Actually getting into tech. So doing all that. Entrepreneur as well. Have a couple of properties. And then from there, I have a platform where I talk about the male mindset, Men 101. I just talk about the men in Christ, you know. And let me just say I absolutely love Jesus. I had that in there. And I'm 6'3", since you asked. 6'3" to be back. But yeah.
And how old are you?
Oh, I'm 31. My bad. I'm 31.
31, 6'3", was a chemist, now entrepreneur.
Right.
Real estate, and used to play in the NFL.
Right.
And you love Jesus.
And I love Jesus.
Why do you think that it's like rare or like surprising when you tell people that like you're a Christian?
The number one reason is probably because there's this assumption on the way Christian men look. So people automatically look at me, and you hear the background. So when they look at me, they think automatic left. You know, they think he's in the streets. They think he's doing this. Then they hear I'm a Christian, and that's the shock. Like, he a Christian, he really trying to be a Christian. You know, like, that's the difference with people. So
are they like, are you a Christian or are you a Christian?
right. People be like, are you a Christian? I'm like, sweetheart, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you do have to ask these days because everybody's a Christian.
Yeah, everybody's spiritual.
Spiritual. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I hate that word. Your Nigerian heritage, was you born in Nigeria or your family were born in Nigeria? Where does Niger come in?
Right. Good question. So both my parents are Nigerian, Niger. You know, both of them are Nigerian. I was born in New York, but I was absolutely raised very in depth in my culture. So first gen, you're usually raised very deep in your parents' culture. So of course you embrace it. You know, I embrace it in every bit and every way.
So yeah, you do embrace it a lot. A lot of the interviews that I've watched, you have made sure you announce that you are indeed a Nigerian.
Absolutely, because I mean, I live in America, but I mean, I'm American, but I can't say it looks too good for us right now. You know, I can't say we're doing the best job right now.
So you jump ship. You're like, I'm Nigerian. That's cool though. Okay, so we're gonna do an icebreaker. Not that we need it, but I think it'll be quite fun to get to know a little bit about you. Okay, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
I didn't have breakfast.
Lunch?
Fasting? Okay. I would say if I would have breakfast, it'd be waffles.
So you didn't have anything to eat today?
I didn't have anything to eat today.
Are you fasting?
I mean, I'm not supposed to say this, but you know what I'm saying?
You're fasting. I knew it.
Yeah, trying to do the right thing. You feel me? But
okay, cool. Okay, so waffles, you usually have waffles for breakfast?
Waffles, absolutely. Wait. I usually have what?
Waffles, sorry.
What, waffles?
Waffles.
Oh, okay, UK. My bad. Okay.
Waffles.
Waffles. Right?
Waffles. Okay, what's your favorite song right now? One secular and one gospel.
Listen, my favorite song right now is my Afro beats. You don't know
what it's called?
San Francisco.
Peru.
You're right.
Peru. Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite gospel song at the moment?
My favorite gospel song has to be "Mercy"
by Elevation.
No, it's the song "Excess Love," the remix.
By who?
By Mercy Chinwe, some Mercy Chinwe, but Excess Love, the remix. Yo, it's fire.
Oh, I've got to check that out. Okay, who is your celebrity female crush?
Don't have one. I don't have one. I'm sorry. Like,
really?
Truth is, like, I mean, you see celebrities, I see beautiful women on the street all the time that are prettier than them. So it don't work out that way for me.
Okay, what's your favorite fragrance?
Favorite? Shoot, I mean, Giovanni Pod, the vanilla scent, honestly. You know Giovanni Pod? It's a cologne. The vanilla scent of it. I like the vanilla scent. So.
Okay, what was the last series you watched?
Shoot, last series I watched. All American on Netflix.
What's that about?
It's about a football player, high school football player.
Okay. What is your most used emoji?
Most used emoji is laughing and a crying emoji. Because I stay saying ridiculous stuff, you know?
Have you ever been told you look like someone famous, and who was it?
I'm not gonna hold you. Well, technically he's not famous. So this conversation probably isn't the best thing. I get mixed up with Derrick Jackson all the time. Like people see and they're like, bro, you look like Derrick Jackson. I'm like, yo, he looks like. I'm like, hey, stop playing with me. But people be like, are you? And I'm like, I'm not.
That is hilarious. That is so funny. Okay, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given that stuck with you?
Best piece of advice was wear people like loose garments.
Wear people like loose garments. That sounds very non-committal.
Basically, what it means is in life, people change.
Mm-hmm.
So when people change, if you guys separate, don't get your feelings hurt. It's okay. Life is just going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't do the things that are gone already.
Okay, that's good advice. Okay, these are like quick fire ones. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Instagram or Twitter?
IG.
Going out or staying in?
Going out. Put me in the streets.
Are you a morning person or a night person?
Night.
You're a streetwalker, yeah? He's for the streets. Okay, show us your cell phone wallpaper. Oh, you're using your phone, aren't you?
I'm using my phone.
What's your cell phone wallpaper?
It's the regular factory. It's the regular factory wall, John.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't. It is what it is. I don't really take my phone too seriously like that.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so boring. Okay.
What it is.
It's very boring. Okay, so the first topic that I want to talk about is vulnerability in men, and why is it so hard, or do you think it's so hard for men to be vulnerable, especially when they're in relationships?
I think probably the greatest thing why we as men struggle with being vulnerable in relationships is it's hard for us to trust, right? Trust is a very big thing for men. Trust goes in the line hand to hand with respect. When you respect someone, you trust them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in a relationship, I don't completely trust that if I tell you something, it's not going to come back and haunt me. I don't completely trust that if I tell you something, you won't blow it out of proportion, because as men, we understand women are very emotional, right? So in our understanding of this, I don't really know if it's safe enough to express how I truly feel, because I don't know what might happen later on. And with a lot of times, if we're in a relationship, we don't know if it's going to end right there. So I can tell you, for men, we'll drop it and that's it. Like, we'll say, hey, look, this happened when I was younger. Cool. Boom, it's done. A girl tells us something, boom, it's done. On the flip side, we'll say this happened when I'm younger. 2 months later, this happened when you were younger. That's why you act this way. We understand that, but when you throw it at us at a bad timing, it's like, yo, like,
yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can also say, you know, our greatest fear as men is truly hurting a woman right to her face. If any woman questions that, I'd say, look, even if a man cheated on you, you ever notice that it's the hardest thing to tell you to your face. So at the end of the day, we may do stuff behind doors, but in front of a woman, our job is to protect her. So we don't ever want to tell you anything that's going to have you not feel protected.
So then you'd prefer to lie?
We prefer to avoid.
I.e. lie?
No, just not say it.
Okay, so let's say in a situation where a guy has cheated on his woman, he doesn't want to hurt her by telling her, but he would lie instead. That's going to hurt her too. Where's the logic in that? Since men are so logical.
It's true. It's true. For that, in that situation, you're right. He's definitely will lie. But at the end of the day, well, I guess there's no win in that one. We're just lying. In the long haul, it's going to hurt her. But in our heads, we're like, you know what? For the moment, I just can't do it. I'm not going to go ahead and destroy her like this. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's another level of savage to just walk up to a woman and be like, yo, I'm cheating on you on a regular basis. Do you see what I mean? It takes another level of sickness to be saying that. Now, let's say he's questioned and he says it. Of course, most men would choose the lying route because you get to avoid it and we don't have to take accountability for what we just did. But so that's really the logic behind it.
So why don't men like to take accountability?
Why does anybody like to take accountability? It forces us to face who we are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It forces us to face who we are, and nobody really wants to face the monsters that they deal with. So, and also when you think about life, we've been conditioned in a sense to, just because as we as men, we're always taught to lead, right? Taking accountability is basically saying, hey, you're not doing the right thing. You're wrong. You're leading wrong. So it's a shot at our ego to take accountability. So honestly, if I can do wrong and not take accountability for it, I can always feel good.
Mm.
Yeah. And when you didn't have a father to show you what is right and what is wrong, taking accountability is not something you want to deal with. Because your father just ran. Most men just run. So this is something we're used to.
So men, in a sense, obviously women, whatever, goes both ways. But in this conversation,
right,
men don't like to be wrong. Is that what shoots the pride down? Like, because you said, like, and I heard someone say that men run from things they're not good at. Is that true?
Yeah, I could absolutely see that. So I wouldn't say that statement about men running from things, as far as what'd you say earlier about their ego?
They don't like being wrong.
Right. So it's not that men don't like being wrong. I say being wrong is not the issue. It's attacking my ego. Taking accountability is not really being wrong. It's more, hey, even if you did this, this is the result of it. You have to take accountability for what you did. So it's more an attack on my leadership, on my ego. It's more me forcing myself to have to change, to have to grow, to have to do all these things that I'm either not aware of or I don't want to do. The issue, go ahead.
Why don't men want to change?
Why don't men want to change?
Yeah.
A lot of men they get comfortable. We get comfortable. We're not looking for certain things. And you got to understand, we always grow and we always change, right? We're always growing. But the reality is, as men, we get to a point, and not all of us, but some of us, we're comfortable where we're at. And it's not a bad thing. You get what I mean? We're comfortable. Okay. We got a good job. We got a good house. We got a good car. We're good. At that point, we are all right. We are leading. See, men are not like women. We don't always have to, something doesn't always have to be going on. A man can easily be set. Hey, I make this amount of money. I'm all right, So I'm good where I'm at. Now, personality-wise, I can say, hey, we as men want to grow. But I can say this, a lot of them, we know what we're doing. That's, you know what I mean? Like, we know what we're doing. We chose this for ourselves in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, we're either okay with our outcome, or if we want change, we really have to really seek it out for ourselves, which is why usually when a good woman comes, notice how men would throw everything away and would be like, hey, I'm willing to risk it all and change everything about myself to my homeboys, everything,
So it's true that a man will only change for a good woman? Is that the inspiration? Can't a man be like, yo, I'm messing up. Like, this is not the way that I want to live my life. Does it always have to be for a woman or for a good woman? Because I hear that a lot. Oh, a man will only change for the one that he wants. What about changing because he wants to be a good person?
Right. So to be honest, no, it's not always for a good woman. However, we as men are victory driven. We're goal driven, meaning I don't want to just change just for me. I want to change because I want to level up to be good for my wife. I want to change so I can be a good father. I want to change because I want to make this money so that I can get a wife. I want to change because I want to drive this nice car.
So there's always an object.
It's always an object. That's the reason. There's always an objective. We don't just do things just to do it. That's why they say men are very logical. It's like, hey, this is the goal I want. This is what I'm going to do to get this goal. If there's no goal, then there's no reason to change.
So
you see what I'm saying?
So even the goal of being better for you is not in the equation?
Better for me it's in the equation, but I mean, you understand, if I want to be better for me, I want to be better for me so that I can be a good father. Like, there has to be an object.
Better for you and then something.
Right. Like, there has to be a true objective there. Not just, I just want to be a better man. I just want to be a better man so that I can do this, so that I can do that, so that I can, it's part of leading. Do you get what I mean? When you're leading, you always need a goal, you always need an objective, you always need a plan. So just say, hey, I just need to be better for me. What's the plan after I'm better for me? That's how men think. Like, after I'm better for me, then what?
Then it influences every other area of your life?
Absolutely. So men are like, hey, if I'm better for me, then I'll be a better father. I'll be a better husband. I'll be a better this. But there's an objective there. There's a goal.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Women can just be like, I just want to be better for me, and that's it. It's like, well, where's that going? But she's like, I just want to be a better person. And that's good for women to do that. Men are like, I need a reason. It's kind of like why men don't really do well in church a lot of times. But that's another topic for another
Let's
time.
talk about that. Why aren't there men in church? Like, what's wrong with church?
I can only talk about church in the U.S., right?
Yeah.
So church in the U.S. is based on making you feel good. A good word, like, hey, I got this good word. The pastor made me cry, da-da-da. It's not objective driven. So when you're not objective driven, what am I here for? I don't care about feeling good. As a man, if I'm coming to church, I don't care about being touched or feeling good. I need a plan. You know what I'm saying? I need a plan. I need you to tell me, hey, stop doing this, do this, do that, and you'll be a better man. Because
you guys need commandments.
Right. You need like, hey, this is that. I mean, the Bible is built on laws and commandments, right? And that's how people follow it. However, women can operate just off feeling good and still be in the same place as long as she feels good.
It's true.
Men can't do that. Like, it has to be an objective. It has to be a goal, which is why when you find churches that are more straightforward, more honest, you will always find more men.
Mm.
You will always find more men.
Mm. That's a really good point. And I think I'm learning, and especially from our conversation last week, there's the stark difference between men and women. I think we know we're different, but we refuse to accept that we're different. We want men to be like women, and sometimes men want women to be like men, like to think. Why can't you just think logically? It's like, but I'm on my period.
No, you're right. You're absolutely speaking truth. And I say this all the time. The difference between men and women is women hear what men say, but they want men to be like them, right? But at the same time.
At the end of the day, yeah. I hear what you're saying, but...
Right. As far as with men, our issue is that we hear what you guys want. We just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So the truth of the matter is, men, we're not confused. Our whole life, we watch movies about what women want. Everything is catered to women on TV. Everything you read is women. So the truth of the matter is, like, we understand what y'all want, but we just choose not to do it. If a man's not doing it,
why can't you guys just do what we want? Why?
Right. And you guys will be like, what do men want? We'll tell you what you want. And then you'll be like, no, you guys shouldn't want that. What you mean? You see what I mean? What you mean?
I mean, yeah, I can't argue with that. Why don't men want to do what women want to do? It's not hard.
That's a good question. And the truth of the matter is, the men that do want to do what women want to do usually get married and marry the woman, and they do well. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But the truth
so why the rebellion from some men like yourself?
Because they don't want it.
Why you ain't want it?
Wait, me? Myself?
Why you ain't want it?
Wait. There's no rebellion coming from my end, y'all.
You're saying that this is the reason why these men get married. Okay, unless you're married, why you ain't want to do what we want you to do?
Are you asking me why I'm not married?
No, you mentioned that the men that typically want to do what women want them to do are the ones that are married, right? You're unmarried, so would you fall into the other category of I don't want to do what they want me to do? In
some ways, a little bit of ways, but not overall now.
Okay, so in a little way that you do, what's the
So in little ways, I could say that one, men were willing. The men that got married, they're willing to be like, you know what? I'm with this one girl. That's it. This is all I want to be with. For me and myself, I can say I was definitely in a mindset of there's always another beautiful woman. No stress. There's always another beautiful woman. That's what separates me from them, because they're like, hey, I'm willing to stop. I know there's always another beautiful woman, but I don't care. Yeah. I got that later. You know what I mean?
So you're saying you got that later. Does that mean that you are now not still thinking that there's someone better?
Right. So I'm not still thinking that.
Why,
but the reality is,
what made you think like that?
when I started looking at everybody that was better and realized everybody's better wasn't better. So after a while, you start going through the other beautiful women that you always see, and you start talking with them, you start having conversations with them, you start dating them, and you realize, wow, there's always another prettier woman, but overall, there's not always another better woman for marriage. There's not.
Can you break that down? The difference between someone prettier and someone better?
Overall, you can find a prettier woman as far as looks prettier, carries herself better. You may even have nice conversations, right? But when it talks to an actual wife, that means when you're talking about beauty and mindset and character, it's very hard to find that. It's not too common. So when you factor that in with based on just a woman's pretty, the woman with beauty, mindset, and character will always win overall. So the truth of the matter is, those are two different aspects. In my mind, I was always looking like, oh, there's always another prettier woman with that you could talk to. There is. But there's not always a prettier woman that you can marry that has the qualities for marriage. Like, not everybody wants to be a wife. Not everyone wants to be a mother. Not everybody wants to be caring, submissive, a good wife. Not every man wants to be honorable and submissive as a good husband. You get what I mean?
Yeah. So from the women that you say are pretty, but don't have character and
mindset,
what do you mean by character and what do you mean by mindset?
Right. And this kind of goes in the conversation we had before, but there's certain things women say or certain things women do that you'll know, hey, this wouldn't be a good wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's use the number one thing. If a woman says, hey, I don't want to submit to a man, I don't think women should submit to a man, automatically, 90% of men are like, boom, say less, sweetheart. I'll never marry you. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to break up with you, but I'll never marry you. Now, we can get into the semantics of submission, all this and that. Now, I do understand some people have understood toxic submission, all of that. I get it. I understand that. But overall, with the understanding of the word, if you are a grown woman and you express this to a man, express it with your chest, by all means. Buddy not take you seriously no more. You get what I mean? You've made...
Okay, but you can't just say it without actually breaking down what your definition of submission. And I want to know, why is it always like top of men's list? Because it's always top of men's list, it kind of makes us feel like, why do you want us under you so bad?
Right, but then to do that, the reverse question would be, why do you want us over you so much? Because women always say they want a man to be a leader. Yeah. So you can't push leadership without pushing somebody's submission to some degree. Sure. So to say, hey, why do you always want to be somebody to be under you? The question is, why do you always want us to be over you? See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So a woman always says you want a man to provide stability, protection. You want him to pay on the first dates. You want him to assert himself. You want him to protect you. All of this stuff. These are all forms of leadership. A man is not a leader unless somebody can follow him or submit to him. So the dynamic that a woman is asking for would only work out if she actually submitted to him. You cannot have...
Now go on.
Yeah, so the truth of the matter is you cannot have two leaders because, and I know people be like, oh, yes, you can have two leaders. It's cap. The truth of the matter is, unless you guys agree on everything from head to toe, somebody will have to give to somebody at some point.
Yeah. I mean, even in business, to say that 50-50 does not make any sense. Like, it has to be 60. Someone has to have the final say, shall we say.
Right.
So I definitely agree that there can't be two leaders. Okay. The rebuttal from a Little Women is that, okay, but he's not worthy to be submitted to.
I agree. I completely agree with that. So now my question is, why are you with him? That's the number one question I'd ask any woman that says that. Why are you with him? Because as a man, for men, I know a man won't marry a woman who's not willing to submit to him. So a woman, why are you even considering this man for marriage who you can't submit to?
Mm-hmm.
If he's not worthy, why are you in a relationship with him? Why you guys even got far? You get what I mean?
Yeah. So submission to men is like respect.
It's respect.
Mm.
It is respect at the end of the day. When you really talk about the whole dynamics of it, when a woman requires a leader and a man requires somebody's submission, that's the way marriage works in general. So, and this goes back to what I said about wife qualities and husband qualities. Most men don't, not most, a lot of men are not willing to lead certain women. This is why they don't want to get married. This is why women don't choose not to marry them. Vice versa, if a woman is not willing to submit to a man and doesn't want to submit in any way, a man won't marry her. But it's things like this that people ask questions and they're like, why didn't he marry me? Why didn't he commit to me? Or why didn't she? It's very obvious. And to be honest, when you ask a question for a woman that doesn't want to submit, so you want to be the leader. If that's the case, if you want to be the leader, then what's the issue if the man isn't aggressive? What's the issue if he doesn't want to plan to take charge? What's the issue if you have to pay for everything, every date, all of that? So this is why I say women don't really want what they ask for. You don't want to submit. The only other option is that you have to lead. But you don't want to lead because, if I'm not mistaken, I've heard plenty of forums and videos about women complaining about doing everything.
Yep.
Pick your battle. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. Pick
your poison. What are you doing here? You don't want to submit. That means you have to lead. But now you're complaining about leading. It's hard. It's too much. I shouldn't be babying a man. I shouldn't be doing all that. But you just said you don't want to submit. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you asking for? What do you actually want?
So that brings me to the what we were talking about last time, and what you just said about women ask for what they don't necessarily want. What are some of the things that we were talking about before that, like some of the things women say that they want, but they don't actually want?
Right. Like, for instance, women will be like, I want a man who is really in touch with his emotions, a really good man. Cool. Now you have an issue when that man cries during movies. You think he's too soft. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you don't want these things. A woman will say, I want a man who doesn't care about my physical traits. That's okay. But usually if a man doesn't care about physical traits at all, he doesn't care about it himself.
Yeah.
So now he's out of shape. His hygiene is bad. But this is the type of man you want. And deep down, you're like, I don't want a man like that. I want a fit man. So these are what comes with certain things. But you're not willing to decide. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are the concepts that I'm talking about. Or for instance, the topic we were talking about, the NFL. And I was like, a woman would say, I want to marry an NFL football player, but I want him to be at home all the time with the kids, raising them, all this and that. Sweetheart, every other weekend he has an away game.
Wait, I was waiting for you to drop the sweetheart.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, he has an away game. During the early stages of their childhood, if he's still playing, he's not going to be available like that all the time. This is what comes with his career. He has women throwing themselves at him. You understood that. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
But can't be upset at that, but still want to marry a man who's in the NFL, who's in the limelight.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and I was kind of like, I want to be the star in the relationship. I don't want someone that is like, out there. I don't want a guy that all the girls want, kind of insecure, right? Like a little form of insecurity kind of thing. But then if a guy was like, oh, I don't want a girl that is like in a spotlight, who's an Insta baddie or whatever.
Why is it okay for a woman to see a perfectly eligible man and be like, hey, I'm not interested in him. Date him and be like, I'm good. I'm good. It wasn't for me. I just feel like this isn't it. But when a man does that on the flip side, a woman's automatically like, he wasn't sure of himself. He's not a true leader. He was playing games. Why do women get the ability to say no to a man? But when a man says it, there's something bad about him. A man can pursue a woman and be like, hey, this woman's not it, and walk away. He has every right. So these are things where I'm like, hey, one side is okay, the other side is not. When the truth of the matter is, there's no point to be upset because people are still going to move accordingly.
Yeah. I think we're talking about rejection and how I personally don't like to be rejected, but I mean, I wouldn't mind being the one rejecting. And I find that and that goes to even to the point of like women shooting their shot. I think I personally wouldn't do it because My ego is too big.
See?
My ego is way too huge to be rejected. Like, I don't like rejection at all. But I feel like because men are always the pursuers, they're more used to, you guys are more used to being rejected.
Absolutely.
But it hurts us more.
Right, absolutely. I mean, you understand, we've been talking to girls from the moment we started school, even before that. So our whole life, we've been dealing with rejection, this woman liking this person, breakups, all this and that. So we're good. But today, in today's day and age, society is doing a great thing by empowering women, especially Black women. Empowerment is amazing. But at some point, I don't know what happened, but it's starting to tweak to where women have left empowerment and have started to step into entitlement. So nowadays, when you meet a woman who's pretty and beautiful just because her wig and makeup is hidden to some degree, right?
What?
Now, I said nowadays, when a woman is beautiful and really, truth be told, it's just because her wig and makeup is really good, right?
No,
I don't even know if she's really beautiful, but I mean.
Anyway,
all right.
Go on.
I'm just saying, some women, they take it off. It's not the same thing underneath. But, and you can't say I'm capping, but what I'm saying is, my point in that is saying is just that nowadays a woman feels because I'm beautiful and I have a great career, a good man has to commit to me no matter what. And I understand that you're empowered and you are beautiful, but a man is only going to marry one woman. So if he just says, hey, I'm not feeling it in my spirit, or hey, I just don't think it's going to work out, he shouldn't be going to hell, cursed out, all of this stuff just because he walked away. I'm like, and this is why I said, how many good men are in a woman's DMs right now that she is like, I'm good. He's just not it for me. You feel me?
Yeah.
So that's the concept I'm kind of talking about. Like,
so you said women have moved from empowerment to entitlement.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you see men, when you see a lot of times, it's almost getting harder to find a woman that's a wife because now she's like, hey, look, I'm beautiful, I have great character, and I got this great job, and I walk on water in some degree. So now she's like, hey, you need to be this, and that. And even if a man's willing to reach that, it's like you don't really line up for that lifestyle. And here's what I mean. A woman will be like, I live my life, I work a good job, but I need you to be over 6 foot. I need you to be muscular. I need you to be all of this. The girl ain't been in the gym in however, and her body is not one that can last without working out. Do you get what I mean? I understand some women get away with that, but if we're going to be realistic, I'm like, hey, that man's not going to want you. But you think because you're pretty and you have a good career that this should line up. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. But okay, so woman's beautiful, she has a career, she has a good mindset, but isn't that what you want in a wife?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's millions of women with good careers that are beautiful, have great mindsets.
So what's the difference? What makes the difference then?
And that would be based on compatibility and how our conversations are flowing. But a woman will slay a man if he's like, yo, hey, it's just not working. But this on the flip side, a woman can be like, I understand, like he just wasn't it for you. Do you, sweetheart? You know what I mean? Do you do what's best for you? You got to do what's best for you. You know what I mean? This is what we push women to do. I understand. Matter of fact, we kind of push women to leave marriages nowadays in a sense too. Like, hey, look, if you feel like this, go forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go ahead. And, that's neither here nor there because some marriages, some men are just really trash and the woman really need to leave. So I understand that as well. But do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I do think that there is a double standard and I think it is the way that women are wired. I think we do look out for ourselves first. And I I do agree that like there are some entitled women out there, right? However, there are some women.
I love the some entitled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't generalize everyone. I do believe there are some that are entitled. I do feel like some do are pushing it and they don't measure up. However, there are a lot of women out there who feel like I can't find or meet my equal, and they're not asking for the world. Like they're not asking for the 6 foot, 6 figures, 6-pack. Like they're literally just asking for like loyalty, obviously attraction, compatibility, and obviously someone that's going to be financially stable. And I think that's quite a big thing, especially for Black women, because obviously Black women are doing very well for themselves. But sometimes when you get to that place, you can't find your equal without having to shrink yourself.
Right. And I think that's kind of what I'm talking about with the whole equal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Equal. It's what women consider an equal is not an equal to men.
Okay.
Because you're beautiful, you have a good mindset, you have a good career, it's not an equal to a man. Our mindset isn't saying she's an equal to me. We're not looking for an equal. We're looking for a wife. So that's why the dynamic shifts. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for us as men, we're not looking for a woman that matches salary-wise or whatever. This is why the more money a man makes, generally speaking, he'll usually marry a woman who's pretty with good character, and she doesn't even make nearly as much. You see few power couples in this world. You know what I mean? Instagram does this idea of, hey, we're both millionaires, this is that. A lot of these people became together, right? But most of the time, especially if a man's making a lot of money, he's going to marry a woman who makes less money, not because she makes less money, but for some reason, I don't understand why. But when a woman makes more money, or she likes the finer things in life, for some reason, and this is not all of them, because the ones that are not like this, they usually get married really quickly. But there's traits that follow it. So it's not the fact that you want a lot of money, it's the traits that follow it. Can you honestly tell me the women that like the fine things in life and make a lot of money are not more rude, more aggressive, act more like men, you feel me? More argumentative, more opinionated. I wish it wasn't like that. And like I said, the women that are not like that, the man marries immediately. Even though money is not a thing, he marries her immediately. But this trend, we even see it in movies. Look at the boss chick in movies. Why is she always rude? You know what I mean? Like these trends usually follow that type. So what does a man do? He's like, well, I see this trend follow this type. So let me go to a type that's not like that, because men are logical in a sense, right? So they're like, let me go to where I know that's not like that. So you usually find a woman who, she may just not be his equal financially, but for some reason, those tendencies don't follow. So they marry them. You get what I mean?
Mm.
So I hate that that's like that, because
why do you think that that's the case? Why do you think that if a woman is doing well for herself and she's got a lot, right, she tends to be arrogant? But yeah, that's the same. Isn't it similar with men that have a lot?
Absolutely. But you ever notice that men who have a lot, they're not really getting married like that? If you ever notice that, like they kind of just playing around. If they are married, they got an open marriage or whatever. Like, here's the thing. I think this is why I say a lot of women don't want what they ask for. When you ask for a man with a lot of money, right, who meets this certain requirement, that's great. The ones that do want to get married aren't even living faithful marriages like that, and they're not trying to, right? So when you look at this number, it's like, I understand you can ask for that. There's nothing wrong with it, but your percentages of finding a man that's really trying to be good while making a lot of money is slimmer. I mean, if we're going to go off statistics, the most faithful person are the people that make average salary. The more money a man makes, the less faithful they are.
Why?
Why? Because he has more options. So the more options he has, the less faithful he is. It is what it is. Like, and it's not a good thing, but it happens. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but what I'm saying is the chances are slimmer. Nothing wrong with that, but you have to understand what you're asking for. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Men understand, hey, the more money a woman makes, sometimes from the trend, her personality is not the greatest. So logically, what are men doing? I'm going for a woman who, if she happens to make less and she has a nicer character, what am I losing?
So you're saying that women who do make more should be nicer.
Listen, if the woman made all this money and their personalities were amazing, I promise you, they'd be getting married.
Really?
I bet money on it. That you think it's not the salary thing is not really the issue. It's the personalities with the salary. They trust me. Trust me when I tell you, like, if she was a caring woman, submissive woman, great personality, and she was a helpmate, I bet you this man would marry her. But for some reason, the more money, she's a little bit more short with people. She has less time. She's not as patient anymore. She's really aggressive. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and when you have a man that's making a lot of money who is your equal, he doesn't want to come home and really deal with somebody that's extremely opinionated. He'd rather deal with somebody who's like, hey, look, I hear what you're saying.
You said You said
I'm not gonna hold you. I'm not coming home arguing to nobody because you just feel orange should be apple. Nah, I'm not. You know what I mean? I understand. Hey, congratulations, but what are we doing here? You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Which is why that usually works for like men who are usually not as aggressive, who are usually more
feminine, masculine men.
Right. So then, but then this is why I say women don't really want what they want because they don't want that man.
No. Okay, so what advice would you give to a woman who is making it? I don't know women. I don't know every woman, so I can't even say, oh no, women are not like that. I don't know them. So what advice would you give to a woman who has her stuff together and has a lot and has rightly earned what she's doing? What advice would you give her character-wise?
I would say, honestly, if she meets a man, her equal, or even whatever, if she just meets a man that she likes, I'd say if she is truly supportive of him, brings him joy, if she sees an argument or whatever, like, hey, state your case, but don't let it sit too long. If she's not trying to match him with his intensity or whatever, I promise you this man is going to be like, hey, this is a great woman. If her main goal is to support him and encourage him, she'll be all right. Stroke the male ego. That's my favorite thing because you expect a man to affirm you. So stroking the male ego is affirming him.
And this is what we were talking about as well. You were talking about, I said, is an ego a bad thing in men? And you said no, right?
Right. I said it's absolutely a thing.
Yeah. And you said that women have egos too.
Right.
We just call it affirmation.
Right. Yeah, I call it affirmation. Like I said, because you look in the mirror and all of a sudden you leave and you still want your husband to tell you beautiful. You just looked in the mirror. Why do you need to hear that you're beautiful? That's stroking your ego. Strictly stroking your ego. Why does he need to say I love you? He told you that 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Stroking your ego. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all stroking the ego. But when flipped, I'm never going to stroke a man's ego. These are things where a man's like, okay, well, clearly I can't marry her because she won't affirm me, but she'll expect to be affirmed. It's not going to work out that way. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Why do you think that women have so much animosity towards men?
Oh, why?
Why?
I don't think women have a lot of animosity toward men. Okay, I could say this. Right now in this time in life, it's probably the greatest divide between men and women ever. Right?
Yeah.
That is strictly because of money.
Money?
Strictly because of money. That's how the divide started. Women started elevating financially, right? So now women elevated financially and they were like, hey, I need a man to match me financially, right? The only thing is their elevation did not make them more wives to men. It just meant you had more money. Men are still looking at your character and your beauty. So now women have this higher standard and the men are like, you're still a beautiful woman who I'm looking for with great character. So now this war is going here like, hey, look, the money, where you at? Can you support me? Can you lead me? I make too much this and that. And men are like, hey, I'm still looking for a good woman with great character. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about it. Can you honestly tell me what's the only thing that changed in society? Like, the only thing that changed, women started making more money. Cheating has gone up on the women's side. Why? Because women make more money. Like, I mean, let's play this out, right? And I've told people this all the time. Men used to cheat. Men cheat all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men cheat because they were away from home and they were working all the time. They would connect with somebody and cheat. Women are now in the same situation, and the cheating is going up. So it's safe to say that both humans, the farther they are away from their spouse, the greater the risk of cheating, the greater risk of division. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the reality is I'm not even coming for women. I'm just saying we as people, it's not good for us to be away from our spouse for too long. It's not good for us with all of this stuff. So the finances had a large part to play with it.
Yeah. Well, I would say that the animosity is because I do feel like a lot of women don't respect men, but I also feel like it's because a lot of men are not respectable.
That's fair. But why do you think a lot of women don't respect men?
Because men are not respectable.
But back in the days, they respected them.
I think maybe they didn't have a lot of other men to compare them to.
So, right. You know what? That's actually a very good assessment. So nowadays, who are women comparing men to?
Other men.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Celebrities, right?
Yep.
Well, let me not drop names, but you know what I mean? Celebrities, like Instagram. That's what women are comparing men to, though. So women are comparing men to social media men. These men on social media, I mean, I tell people this all the time. Women compare, not women, but people compare themselves to celebrities. A lot of celebrities have open relationships. We know this, right?
Yeah.
They be dating this and that. You'll literally compare them and repost them and talk about you want that relationship. Well, that's an open relationship. Is that what you really want? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're a power couple, though. They're a power couple. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they're an open relationship. You're right. She acts like a man. He acts like a man. Congratulations. Is that you feel me?
Yeah.
So these are the dynamics where I often like, hey, why are we even talking about stuff that you not really want, that you don't really desire, you know?
Mm.
So if it's one thing I could say about men, more men are saying, I don't want to be married now. That's a big issue that's going on. More men are like, hey, I'm good on marriage, you know?
Why?
Why? Because, I mean, in a lot of ways, we as men don't really have to be men anymore. So it's like a lot of men are becoming more feminine. I hate to say it, you know?
Yeah.
They're adopting this like, hey, I don't really have to step into this role. I don't want to be this role. They're embracing like, yo, you know, let's just let somebody else take charge. I'm good.
Do you feel like women have taken men's position?
Absolutely. And that's on both parts. I think men gave it up, and men actually stepped out of their position.
Yeah, what came first, chicken or the egg?
Men stepped out of our position first.
Okay.
We messed up first.
Why? How did that happen?
Why did men step out of our position? I mean, are we going to talk spiritually? I think men have honestly been attacked from the beginning, you know?
Yeah.
You take out a man, you take out a generation. Whose last name carries? You get what I mean? Who's even sexually, who's the seed coming from? So when you take out a man, it's done. When you take out a man, you take out leadership. Overall. Now, don't get me wrong, women are great leaders as well. But what I'm saying is if you take out a man, there's certain authority that comes with a man. If you take it out, you take out protection. You take out all these things. So men are naturally attacked. And a lot of men, I mean, we drop the ball in a lot of ways. And this is the result of it. If we're going to go down to the nitty gritty, it's us. You know what I mean? Like I can't lie and say we didn't do this. We caused it. We dropped the ball. And then we mess women up in the process. And now women are coming back and they're rising, but at the same time, they're messing up the same way we did.
Mm.
So now eventually it's going to be a balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we messed it up first. By all means, we as men dropped the ball.
Would you like to apologize on behalf of all men in the world?
I should. I like to apologize for all the night, and dude, we should just say, oh, because man, we definitely. I mean, it was a long time coming, but we messed it up big time, you know.
Mm.
And no man can say we did it. We were in charge.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like we were genuinely in charge, so there's no way we can say we didn't mess it up.
Yeah, I think that's important to hear, because with the gender wars going on, I think it's always like your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault. Like, and I don't think anybody wants to accept accountability, but I think everything does come full circle back to the men, and it's not necessarily about blaming. But I always say that men had the responsibility, even for talking about Adam and Eve in the garden. The command was given to Adam, it wasn't given to Eve. And did Eve sin? Yes, she did. But Adam was given the commandment, so he was judged more harsher. And I think a lot of men like to say that women don't like take accountability, but
they don't.
And I would agree. Right. But men don't take accountability either. So women are always going to bat it back, like, and that one's for you.
Right. No, I definitely agree with you. And the truth of the matter is, I think today what a lot of men and women battle with is the fact of today. So you can't blame anything on the past anymore, right?
Yeah.
If you were raised a certain type of way, nobody cares. Once you've grown, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
You want to be. So what a lot of men are saying is like, hey, look, the past is a past. We dropped the ball. You're right. But today, if you're going to keep messing up and blaming what our parents dropped, that's on your fault, because the truth of the matter is a man's still not going to commit to you or marry you. Vice versa, a woman's still not going to marry you unless he lines up.
Now we want to talk about you.
What about me?
Well, I feel like I asked this question to all my male guests. Why are you single?
Why am I single? Why am I single? Why am I single at 31? I can answer that question, but
why did you say you're not your age?
Because I'm grown and single. You feel me? That's a red flag, you know? Like, I'm grown. But I can say honestly, truth be told, one, you know, God really has somebody special for me. And two, honestly, if I could really be honest, I kind of got caught up in like the lifestyle. And when I say the lifestyle, I mean
the streets.
Not the streets. I wouldn't say the streets. It's just more, I always thought there was another pretty woman. And I never really cared about marriage because I was like, there's always another beautiful woman. There'll always be another woman. So I was never pressed on marriage. I was like, it will happen when it happens, but there's always going to be options. Always going to be options. So I lived life like that. So I never took it seriously, you know? You always have women throwing themselves at you from sports, and now even from the platform or whatever. So you just never took it seriously. It's only when I decided to truly like, all right, I'm playing, let me really buckle down, that I started realizing my options were not real options. And that's when I hit me and I was like, wow, I'm really playing. You know what I mean? I might have passed up on some really good ones because I just didn't care like that. So nowadays I really, that's really the ultimate reason why I'm single now, because I pay attention and I'm like, okay, you know, that's what puts me in this space today.
So what would you say you're looking for? Since you're out here dating, what would you say it is that you're looking for? Is it just that connection? Is it the
hold on? What was that energy? Since I'm out here dating, like
what energy?
Dating, dang, man can't date. Like
who said that?
No. As far as like, what am I looking for when I'm out here dating? Honestly, I'm looking for a beautiful woman, with great character, and beautiful woman, great character, and we work well together. So our foundations align. Honestly, I've met beautiful women with great character, and our foundations have not aligned. Like dynamics of raising kids or dynamics of Christianity. You get what I mean? Like something like that. But overall, it's really, really hard to find a beautiful woman with great character. Like,
really?
What? Like, of course, women, by all means, it's harder, but I didn't think it was going to be this hard. Like, I didn't think so. Hard. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard.
So let's break down great character, because you're making it seem like women are just wild cards. Like, they're just...
I mean, can you not tell me in today's day and age, women are not more like, they're not wilder, they're not more wild compared to the past?
I could imagine.
Right. So just naturally, the reason it's harder too, I think, well, you know what, let me not even go off. What was your question? You was like, what is it that I'm looking for exactly?
Yeah, the good character, because you make it seem like women are just like horrible people.
Okay. So when I talk about good character, I'm talking about like, are you supportive, or do you have that balance? For instance, do you love the Lord, but at the same time, can you put on a nice dress and go out with me? You know what I mean? Go to some place, somewhere nice, live music, or this and that. I don't need you talking about wine is the devil because they're drinking wine in the spot. I don't need that. You feel me? Like, sweetheart, I don't even drink, but I just don't need all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand we praying for Israel, but can you still be fine after praying for Israel? You know what I mean? Your bonnet is not your prayer cloth. Like, we need to do something else. So these are things. It's hard to find a balance.
Wait, are you being dramatic, or is that literally what it is? Like,
I'm reaching, but now I've met people like that. Like, I've been on where the woman's like, "Hey, I saw that you was on a date last week in the spirit." You right, sweetheart. Congratulations. Like, what's the issue here? I just met you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see the problem here. But so just finding that balance, or on the flip side, like just finding somebody that just doesn't. I get it. Like, I get it. I'm a strong personality. I'm a man. I get all of this. But somebody that's not. How do I put this? Like, I don't need to really find it. I don't know what it is, but beautiful, confident women, they just have a problem with male authority, or just like somebody being straightforward. You know what I mean? Like, it's a hard thing to find nowadays. You know what I mean? It's a really hard thing to find. Like, if I find a beautiful, confident woman, I find she has an issue with men, and I'm like, sweetheart, so why are we even here? But she wants me to take on her and her issue with men, and I'm like, no. Because I'm a man. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not taking this war with you on the issue with men. Maybe you should deal with that before me, but I'm not dealing with that now. And, so it's like, it's hard to find a balance with, somebody that doesn't really have animosity towards stuff that we have done to her in her past, us men. I get it. But at the same time, if I'm looking for marriage, I want to be married. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
If I want to be married, I'm willing to give up what I've done in the past, or what women have done to me in the past, in order for marriage. But some people don't want to give that up and want me to accept them as as they are. No, I'm not doing it.
Why not?
Because I'm not crazy. What am I doing? If I want a peaceful marriage, you think because you went through it in your past, I have to accept it? Says who?
Okay, is there limits? Because obviously there's some things women have gone through that wasn't actually their fault.
Right.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about new trauma, or are we talking about old trauma?
I'm talking about things that are actually detrimental to the relationship. Like, there are certain things that are not detrimental to a relationship. Like, okay, you might get an attitude once in a blue moon because something triggers you from something. Okay, I get it. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
I understand that this is triggering to you. But don't tell me something detrimental to where you mean as a snake all the time because your dad raised you this way, so you feel this is the right thing to do. You get what I mean?
Mm.
Stop it, sweetheart. What we doing? We're playing games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think what you've said definitely goes down to doing the healing work before the relationship, which I absolutely advocate for on my channel. I think healing is a big part of what I talk about. Even when I had the interview with Stefan, I was talking about this on my Instagram the other day. 98% were nice. They had that 2% of women that are just like, I couldn't even listen to this.
Right.
I'm just like, who hurt you? Like, what is wrong?
Right.
I could understand if I had Kevin Samuels on, but like, no, like,
Right.
there's something wrong. There's something wrong with you. And as much as I myself have been hurt and hurt by men, I don't see all men like that. I don't see all men as the devil. And I think healing is really important before going into a relationship. And it's a shame that you said that you met beautiful women, but you're not going to deal with their hatred towards men because you are a man. And I think it's important. I think it's important to have that standard because I guess if the roles were reversed, yeah, we wouldn't want to be a woman-hating man.
Right. Now, I can say women have leveled up now to where they're not willing to put up with men's trash.
Yeah.
And I absolutely get it. And I agree. I think that's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, there has to be a balance to it because you're not willing to put up with men's trash, but you want men to put up with more of your trash. Like today, women will be like, a man needs to accept me for who I am. No, he doesn't. He's not. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And how you know is he's not trying to marry you. So it's like he's not accepting you for who you are.
Mm.
Either you change or it's going to keep going the same way. Vice versa, you're not accepting men for who you are. And that's a good thing. So I just think, people have to be honest with themselves.
Mm-hmm. For sure. What's the cons of dating you?
The cons, like the bad stuff about dating me. You wouldn't ask the good, huh? You gonna ask the bad. So I'll say
we can get into the good after the cons though.
Right. So we can say the bad stuff about dating me, I could say, is my away communication. So texting, I'm not there, calling, like, yo, the best time to speak to me is at nighttime because I'm over here trying to do 1,000,001 things during the day, right? Mm-hmm. So that's probably the biggest con I've heard every woman ever tell me. It's like, yo, why do I always have to talk to you later on? Or why does it feel like, it's hard to get in reach with you? That's probably my greatest thing, right? Other than that, when it comes to personality, I'm a very straightforward person. So I could say my con might be when I speak, it's very direct, right? It's very direct, very honest. And sometimes it can, it could be a little too direct for some people. They could be like, bruh. And I don't even see the problem. Like, for me, I wish everybody spoke like that. But some people are not okay with it. So it's something I actively do. Like, I actively am like, okay, let me think this through before I speak,
Yeah.
But every now and then, it's interesting because somebody will talk to me and I won't realize that they're mad. Because I'm like, oh, I'm happy you said what you said. And I'll respond, not even like a rebuttal. And they'll be like, I can't believe you just said that. And I'm like, I just thought we was having a conversation. You get what I'm saying? So it's because I speak direct, I don't have no problem with somebody saying something to me, not understanding that they're really bothered.
Yeah, so you offend people with your bluntness.
Sometimes. Not often, sometimes. I think I've actively worked on that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, I wouldn't even say I offend people. A woman I'm in a relationship with, I might say something really honest and without understanding, like, yo, she was either upset, that's why she said what she said, or that she doesn't, she didn't need to hear that. So that's something I might say, but that's it.
So the communication thing, I think a lot of men suffer the same thing that you have with being bad at communication. And I really want to know, like, what the hell is that? Like, what is up with that? Because I think, and I know women, we can multitask or whatever. I feel like no matter how busy I am, if I like someone, like they reply to me at 21:07, I will reply back at 21:08. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm there.
Right. Are we talking about when we first meet or are we talking about in a relationship?
Both.
No, when we first meet is completely different from in a relationship.
How?
If I say this, it's going to sound so bad online. But let's talk about relationship because it just sounds better, right? Let's talk about relationship.
Okay.
So in a relationship, with communication, honestly, there's no excuse for that. I can honestly say, like, if I would ask the reason why, I could come up with a bunch of reasons. Like, yo, I'm busy, I'm grinding, I'm working.
No, what's your reason? What's the truth?
There is no truth. And I just, honestly, I treat my phone, like, as much as I'm on social media, I'm not tripping about my phone or whatever. So if I'm gonna be honest, I'm a chemist by trade, right? So in the labs, I've developed this bad habit because if I'm gonna respond on my phone, I have to take my gloves off. That means take chemicals off, text you, put the gloves back on, do my work. So I'm like, yo, if I'm getting a text, you're just gonna have to wait till you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from that, this has been my career. So from that, it developed a really bad habit of like, yo, he's not responding immediately. Sweetheart, like I had to tell women like, yo, I can't just be texting you back and forth like that. You know what I mean? But I am a caller. I will call you, but that's
every
where it comes
day?
from. Yeah, I'll call you every day. I'll call you every day. So I'm that person. I'll call you every day. But I think it's more my response time that really bothers. Like, yo, why did it take you an hour to text back? And I'm like, yo, this experiment took an hour to do, you know? But women not trying to hear that. Women, they're not trying to hear that. So
yeah, I don't know. I just maybe assume that, I don't know. There are some people that like they'll be on social media, they'll be like watching your stories like as soon as you post it, but then the text is replying 7 hours later. We're like, what's going on?
So I get a lot of heat for that.
Do you?
I've gotten heat for that before. So I think people got to understand, like, and I've told, of course, in a dating relationship, I've told every woman, like, hey, look, social media is business to me. I post, I leave. Like, I'm not those people that's on Instagram, whatever. I don't even see what people post in their feeds. Like, if it's not in the story, I'm not seeing it. So I've had people be like, I've talked to a girl, she's like, why don't you like my pictures? I was like, I don't even see what you post. Like, I see you in real life. I don't scroll through Instagram or whatever. I literally do what I need to do and I leave. So it looks like I'm giving it time. And I'm like, nah, it's kind of just marketing and business at this point. So it is what it is. I understand, and, you know, in your world or whatever, y'all take it serious. But for me and myself, I'm like, that's not a thing. I barely even post pictures. Like, I'll be looking at, have you seen my timelines? I'll be telling people, have you seen my timeline? Like, look at the dates between when the pictures were posted. It's not what you think. But it comes off this way.
In a relationship or dating, wouldn't you be like, okay, let's say you've responded to someone. Aren't you thinking like, I'm sure she's replied now, I need to reply? Or is it still like, I'm going to get around to it when I get around to it?
So you mean this is after I text her?
Yeah. If you're having a conversation, let's say you sent her a message, she sent you a message back, and then you meant to send her a message.
That's the difference between me and you. Or that's the difference between me and others. If you send me a message and we going back and forth 2-3 times, I'm calling you. That's it. I'm calling you. I'm not sitting here having to type in full conversation back and forth unless I have to, meaning your job can't allow it.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and type back and forth, waiting every minute for you to respond when I could just call you. Like, what we doing here?
Fair enough.
Because in a relationship, I'm going to see you in real life. You're not going to be able to text me in real life. You're going to have to talk to me. So I'd rather call you and be like, hey, what's up? There's no back and forth. So that's probably a thing with me. There's no back and forth texting. I'm calling you. You got about two responses real quick before I'm like, hey, what's up? Unless you can't talk.
Yeah. So you're not a texter?
Don't care for it.
Do you feel like most men are not texters?
No, most men are texters.
Really?
Absolutely, most men are texting. Texting lets you, it's the ultimate, I can respond and not be involved at the same time.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's easy. So to be honest, if I'm looking for something serious with a woman, after a while, if she's a texter, I respect it. I honor that. Not everybody's the same. But you're going to have to talk to me at some point.
You're going to have to talk to me.
Right. Not with that. Like, I'm not with that. You're going to have a real conversation. And if it's dry, we're going to understand and make assessments. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Okay. So one thing we haven't talked about, which, I mean, everybody probably mentions when they talk to you, is the fact that you are a virgin.
A virgin, right.
Virgin. Like I've heard you answer this question so many times. I don't know. What do you want to say about that?
You know what? I'll say this. Being a virgin, one, I'm gonna be completely honest. It's a miracle from God. Like, it's a miracle. It's a miracle from God.
Touch wood.
Because I am a struggling virgin. When I say that, like, I've heard people say it's easy. It's never been easy for me. Like, I had 1 year when it was ever easy in my life. Other than that, it's been extremely hard. Every bit of it has always been a struggle. Like, I'm out here praying, but by the skins of my teeth, I've been making it. So I say that. Another thing too, it's a blessing to me, but it's not bigger than what it is. So I'm a virgin, but I'm not here like, yo, I'm trying to go 5 more years, Nah, it's the dub. Like, it's time to end. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? So at this point, I meet people and they're like, yeah, I'm celibate 8, or I'm abstinent 10 years. I'm waiting this years. I'm like, why? That you're just telling me you're not married. The goal is marriage. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the goal is to honor God, but we're looking for marriage. So I'm basically saying I don't treat my virginity like it's on this really high pedestal.
Yeah.
The job is to honor God. That's it. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Everything else when it comes to marriage, all this and that, it's just because I haven't been married. But I don't really treat it like the way I've noticed other people treat it. And it's a blessing that they treat it that way. But I realized, like, I'm not tripping no more. Like, it's not what people think. You know what I mean?
But there was a time where you did, like, you was nonchalant about getting married, you're nonchalant about taking it seriously. So would you say that those times were maybe easier for you since you wasn't really focused on getting married?
Absolutely not.
They weren't easier.
Absolutely. It's never been easy for me. Like,
but then you didn't get an epiphany earlier that you need to get married.
So let's talk. If we're gonna be really honest,
yeah,
I'm still truly deep down, I'm not really pressed about marriage. But I know God said you need to get yourself off these streets and get married because you're not gonna make it. So I understand that for myself, like,
God said,
before God, I'm telling you, like, yo, I'm not made for the streets. I'm not gonna make it. Like, I need to get married, and I get this. So for me, marriage is more of a ministry for me, like, because I know good and well, like, yo, this is part of my assignment. Like, this is part of your assignment out here on this earth. You don't need to be single. You're not gonna make it. You need to keep moving. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
so why you not pressed about marriage? What's that about?
If we can be honest, like,
yeah, we're being honest. What are we doing, lying?
Marriage is a beautiful thing, but I see how hard it is for two people to work together. How much you have to die to each other, how much you have to butt heads, how much you have to make it work with family, how much you have to do all of this. This is something that if I had my choice, I honestly, I think I'd be all right? But it's not my choice. I know it's what God wants. So, and it's not to discredit the desire of marriage, because it's kind of like being a virgin. Like, I'm being a virgin for God. Do I want to be a virgin? Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I want to be here? Absolutely. So it's one of those things where I'm like, this is my assignment. This is what I need to do. This is why I'm doing it.
I hear that.
Is that what? But what?
No, I hear that, but it almost sounds like it's against your will. And yeah, like,
I mean, if we gonna be honest, if I really wanted my will, I'd be out here in these streets doing every woman, as long as it's still going to heaven. That'd be my will, if we gonna be honest.
Okay, I get that. But let's say you get married now, and obviously, like, you can have all the sex you want, blah, blah, blah. But your heart's desire, your will isn't that you really wanted to do this thing. You just wanted, I see it as you just wanted to do the right thing. Isn't that a recipe for disaster?
Absolutely. You're asking me, do I want to serve God and do I want to chase my flesh? That's what you're asking, deep down. So my flesh wants to do this and serving God wants to do that. By all means, I'm going to pick God and love it every day. But when we're talking about what you're talking about, I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is there's flesh and there's God. And I'm saying this is what God wants for me. This is what my flesh wants. So my flesh does not want to be married. But God says I need to be married and I should be married. So I'm going to love every bit out of marriage.
Even the hard parts.
Even the hard parts. But that comes with serving God, period. So I'm just being honest. Like some people, even if they didn't serve God, they'd be married. As for me and myself, I understand I wouldn't be. Do you see what I mean?
I do see what you mean. I think it's a bit techie.
It's a bit what, technical?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's facts. Like, it's the honest truth. I mean, I can tell you. So I think a lot of people don't understand who they would be without God. I understand who I'd be without God. And I look at that person in the mirror and I'm like, bro, you're not going to win. So because of that, every day I have to, like I said, I'm not a virgin by chance. It's God. So every day I have to look at myself and be like, yo, you're not going to do this. You're not going to smash. You're not going to hit. You're not going to do none of this. You're going to do the right thing. So I have to face myself every day. And it's,
I guess it goes back to what you're saying about women and men, as in women like to do things that feel good. Men do things with an objective. So in that vein, I understand, because I'm like, a man should want to get married like I do. Like it would, to me, that would be red flag. Like, oh, you ain't finna, you don't really want to do this? Like, is God strong arming you into marriage?
Right. But I mean, God strong arms us into everything. Right? Think about it. You gave your life to Christ. Did you really want to give your life for Christ? Like,
yes.
Do you really want to do everything? Do you want to fast? Like, do you want to pray all the time? Do you know what I mean? You want to eat, but God's strong arming you. He's saying, if you want to be blessed, fast and pray. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, because I say this and a lot of people be bothered by the answer that I'm telling them. I'm like, yo, I'm just telling you, hey, this is serving God. This is not serving God for me. So that's all it is. On a technical standpoint, if I wasn't serving God, I wouldn't be doing any of this at all. You know, so
I hear that.
To be honest, I would actually be more faithful and be a better husband because God told me to, as opposed to I feel like I want to do it.
True. I hear that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that.
So, you know what I'm saying? It's different for me. I know I could die. Like, look, I could die if I'm not doing the right thing. Like, it's not the same for other people where it's kind of like, oh, I just really like what I'm doing. No, the goal is heaven. So I'm like, yo, I need to do the best I need to do to get to heaven, because who I actually want to be doesn't cater to none of this. Doesn't cater to anything that I'm talking about, you know?
Yeah. I hear that.
So I don't think I actually have a good, you know, people be like, you know, I'm just a good person. I wouldn't be a good person at all. I wouldn't be a good person without God. So I get it, you know?
Yeah. Are your parents still together?
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're not.
Do you feel like that affected you in any way? Or your view of marriage?
No. Do I feel like it affected my view of marriage? No. But I can say, by seeing a lot of divorces, it has affected my view of marriage. Not my parents single-handedly, but in general, yeah. Because if I'm going to be real, marriage doesn't cater men in the U.S., at least. So I don't feel it caters to men.
Yeah.
Today. So I understand when men are like, I don't want to get married. I get it. Like, it don't cater to us.
In what sense?
In what sense of, I mean, one, if it fails, and also just they teach you happy wife, happy life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of times, and that's not everybody, but when we think about the embodiment of marriage, it's, hey, is your wife smiling? Is everything doing this? All this, you know, is your wife happy? You know, are you making sure she's good? So the husband really has to do a lot for the wife when, to be honest, women are emotional beings. One day she's hot, one day she's cold. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
One day she may ask for something she don't really want, like as we said before.
Is that annoying to you? Is that annoying to you that women are emotional creatures?
No, I think it's a beautiful thing. It has a strength to it. But
be honest.
I think a lot of people have to accept that they're emotional creatures.
Be honest, is it annoying?
No, it's not annoying. It's not annoying. I get it. So, but we got to accept the emotional creatures. But I don't think, overall, I don't think it caters to men at all, in a lot of ways. There are blessings that come for it. But, I mean, think about it. If we start arguing, if she leaves, it's a dub for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And then also you gotta factor in that, when we're talking about men and women, it's like a man, I say this all the time, a woman can marry a man and she remain the same. That man will be happy. If a man marries a woman and he remains the same, she might leave him.
Yeah.
So the truth of the matter is, I know I constantly have to change as a person no matter what. That means even if everything is comfortable and we are good, I will have to change. Do you see what I mean?
Why would you have to change?
Because women prefer an ambitious man, a man that's really thriving, a man that's pushing through, a man that's all of that.
Yeah.
So when you ask for that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you ask that, a man has to keep progressing no matter what. If he stays the same, what's the woman going to say? We grew apart. That's my favorite one. We grew apart. You know what I mean?
And if a woman changes?
If a woman changes, I mean, unless you changes for the worse, it's not like that with men. If she remains the same, a man will love her.
Yeah, but there's the saying goes that men marry women hoping they'll never change, and women marry men hoping that they do change. So I think a man's greatest fear when marrying a woman is that she changes and she becomes less of the person that he married. Absolutely. And that does happen.
All right, and that's fair.
Yeah, it does happen.
That's absolutely fair, and that does happen. You're right. So when you factor in all of that and just all of that, I don't really think it caters to men at all in a lot of ways. So, and then God forbid it fails. Your kids are not going to like you because you're not taking care of them. I know I'm a victim of a divorced household. I hated my dad only to get older and understand why certain marriages fail. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So your kids really not going to like you till they get to like their late 20s. This is how you see a lot of men rekindle with their fathers when they're much older.
I read that today.
Right. So it's like your kids ain't going to like you. You're not going to get them like that. Chances are beef, she's going to get more money. It just doesn't cater to men. This is why today more men are like, I don't want to get married. Now for me,
that's the negative side though.
Right.
That's all the negatives of marriage, right?
Right.
What are you looking forward to in marriage, apart from the obvious?
I mean, honestly, looking to really spend the world with somebody. The connection, the love, the friendship, you feel me? The beauty, the kids, all of this. I love kids. I absolutely love kids. We have the time of our life. But so I would love to have that. You know what I mean? I would love all of that. So these are all the beauty of marriage that I genuinely enjoy, just to really connect and be with a woman, serve God together, but really have fun, dance together, do all of that, because I'm low-key having the best time of my life. Stop playing. Like we out here together. Game night, everything. It's us with the world together. We out here serving the Lord. So there's beauty in marriage and there's a level of peace. I look at married people all the time and I'm like, yo, there's such a level of peace for married people that I'm jealous of. Like, you see married people, they don't be tripping about certain things because they have their spouse. Yeah. And it's like, oh, I had it like that.
Yeah. They're going to be all right.
They're going to be all right. Right.
Yeah.
While the people, we out here having a whole different battle, like a whole different battle. So
it's rough.
It's real life. The streets ain't for us. They not for the
streets ain't for us.
Not for us. Yeah.
Last question. Okay. Do you have a question to ask me any question that you have to ask?
Of course.
For a woman's perspective.
From a woman's perspective?
Oh, or you can ask me, why are you single?
Absolutely. I was going to ask, why are you single? I was going to ask something we spoke about before, but I said, Brian, I'm going to let that yours sit down. Feel me? I'm going to let that date sit down. You understand what I'm saying? The whole dating situation with you. We gonna,
what dating situation?
The whole your whole scenario about you don't want to.
Oh yeah. You want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
Why am I single? I am single. I'm newly single.
Right. How long?
8 months.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You fresh, but not fresh. But okay.
Yeah, I'm newly single. That's probably my answer. However, like everybody else, I'm waiting patiently for God to drop my husband from the sky.
Okay. You know what? I got a real question.
Yeah.
What is a genuine issue with a lot of men that you date today? What's a genuine problem, or maybe before your relationship that you saw with men in general when you're dating? That was like a constant issue.
Lack of godliness.
Okay. That's
like
right.
Just not meeting men that love God, that I'm attracted to. I think that's a big part because of course there's godly men, but the ones that I seem to be attracted, the ones that I seem to be attracted to, they ain't got God in their lives. So
yeah, that's usually how it works, right?
Yeah, that's the problem. That would be the problem. I don't think I've had really negative experiences with men. So I'm not jaded towards men. And I know good men. Like I know a lot of good men. But I think just finding that match and someone that's comfortable with me and what I do for a living, which is pretty unconventional, and being able to accept that and not feel
threatened by it.
Yeah, unthreatened by it. Yeah,
I can see that. I can see it. Okay. You know what's interesting for me when it comes to meeting women? I think, how do I put this? A lot of women that really serve the Lord, they're starting to look a lot more attractive. You feel me? They're starting.
Oh, really?
I think before it was a real issue because before the more Christian woman was, the less attractive she was.
Yeah.
I think that's changing, right?
Yeah.
But now for me, it's hard for me to differentiate like what's a classy woman and what's not. Because I think it's hard, like it's a real battle.
But I think, like you said, like I think you saying that Christian women have now changed. Mm-hmm. I definitely saw the change in Christian women because I like to think that I'm kind of like Christian but secular. So like okay. I'm like in the middle. I'm like in both worlds, shall I say? I wouldn't say that I'm secular, but I'm saying like I'm in both worlds. And I definitely saw the change of Christian women into more, I guess, secular attire, right? Because they felt like Christian men were overlooking them.
Right.
However, I do think that some have gone
too far, right?
Yeah, way too far, and it's not necessary at all. And then now you have women that aren't Christian that are looking more classy than the ones that are, and I think that's a real shame. But I do feel like what pushed women in that direction was the constant being overlooked by Christian men. Because what I would find is that Christian men, especially in churches, they'll bring someone that either isn't saved or someone from another church into the church when there's pure women in the church. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Like, why? Like, we're not good enough over here. So I think it definitely has been a struggle for Christian women. And obviously the world's changing. We see social media, we see Insta baddies, we see the clothes are off, basically. Right. And those women are getting most attention. So they kind of want a piece as well.
Yeah. You're right. And I completely agree with you on that. I mean, it's a different dynamic on why. That's a whole nother conversation on why the men didn't holler at y'all and they brought somebody else from outside in the church.
Because they don't want to date someone in their church.
Not really.
Because it gets technical, because then the girl will be like, but I was talking to him.
Absolutely. That's exactly why. And then she does all that. But now when it comes to as far as, the way women are dressing nowadays, like we said before, I said there's a war with women going on today, and the choice is, do I want the attention of everybody else, or do I want the attention of a good man? So you can't have both. And that's the war that's going on, because you can get the attention of all the men, women, kids. Everybody's going to turn their head at you. But the good men may even turn their head, but they're not going to approach, or they're not going to want to deal with you. So you have to pick between the two. And most women are picking the attention of everybody, social media, everything. And I understand that, but you're missing out on good men in the process. So you're going to get, and I've told, like we said before, I've told women all the time, no matter what, I don't care how beautiful you are, the girl with less clothes will always turn more heads. The girl who wears less clothes will always get more attention. So your choice is, do I wear less clothes and get more attention, or do I attract a man for the long haul? And this is why I say a lot of women don't want what they ask for. You know what I mean? So it's like, I want a good man, but I'm not dressing to attract a good man. I want the attention of everybody, but I want a good man. You can't have both.
Why not?
Because, I mean, good men don't chase after bad appearances. You know what I mean? You can only judge people based on how they look when you first meet.
I hear that.
So,
I guess you're talking about the extreme dressing, because a good man still wants to be physically attracted to. Absolutely. You're right. I'm talking extreme dressing. Yeah. For the woman, classy and sexy, that's true. Like, hey, you got it. You know, that's the perfect balance. Yeah. That woman's still going to get attention from a lot of men.
Right. She's still going to get attention from a lot of men, but she's not going to get more attention than a woman with less clothes.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the greatest issue, is who's getting the most attention. Yeah, it's competition. It's a competition. So she's not going to get the most attention. And that's the problem. So what would you say to encourage that person that wants attention because she sees this person, that person posts this, she gets all the likes, that person wears this, they get all the attention. Like, what would you say to encourage her? Because, what would you say to encourage her? I would say pay attention to your end goal. What do you actually want? Because you can be happy for the moment, or you can be happy for the lifetime. So is your goal the attention of everybody? Is your goal the attention of good men or good quality? So that's what she should pay attention. That's what she should focus on. So when you step out the house, decide what is this gonna get? What is this gonna bring? If you're okay with the result, that's fine. But don't complain about the result. Understand what you're doing to be all right with it. Yeah. That's what I would say. So don't tell me you dress in see-through and sheer all the time and men aren't taking you seriously. Sweetheart, what you think this was? What world we living in? Because if old buddy was dressed like a bummy and girls weren't taking him seriously, he understood that. Comes with the territory, right? Mm. So I think people need to understand what they're doing and be okay with the result of what they're putting out there. Okay, then. Well, this was a good conversation. I think we touched on quite a lot of things. Do you have any last messages, words? What do you want to say to people? I do not have any last messages. I said a lot. I think I said a lot. You really have. And my jaw's hurting. I spoke too much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming on the channel and blessing us with your perspective. Do you have anything that people should follow? Can you? Absolutely. You can follow me on Instagram. My name is Dozie, Dozie, the number 4 and the letter J. You can look at my YouTube called Falling Forward. You can search it by typing in Falling Forward, or my name, Dozie, and my last name, Ezemma, Ezemma. And that's how you can connect with me. Shout out. Yay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the channel. Okay. Thank you for having me. You're welcome. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this interview with Dozie Ezemma. Make sure you guys check out his channels below. I had a really, really, really good conversation with him. It was very, very interesting and I learned a lot. So definitely check him out as well. Let me know in the comments what stood out to you the most. Did you have an aha moment? Was there anything that you want to challenge? Any questions you want to ask? Make sure you guys comment down below. And I'm looking forward to reading you guys' responses, all right? Until next time, guys. Bye.